Good afternoon. Welcome to the Finance, Budget, and Personnel Committee meeting of Tuesday, September 7th, 2021. And first order of business is to identify potential conflicts of interest. The packet's in front of you. Is there anything that you feel is you're in conflict with? If not, we'll proceed. Next up is citizen comments. Do we have any citizens here who wish to make comments about anything on the agenda? Going once, going twice, 3 times, and we'll move on. On the consent agenda tonight is the minutes of the August 17, 2021 meeting, the monthly position control report, and the bills and payroll. What are your wishes?
Motion to approve.
Motion by Nick, second by Rebecca to approve. Discussion. There being none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, and it carries. And the next up is request to recommend council approval of an RFP for professional services related to the West 2nd Street Corridor Redevelopment Plan presented by Josh Miller. Hello, Josh.
Hello, thank you.
Speak loud.
Will do.
And quick.
Quick, okay. Well, this is kind of a rehash of a project about 3 years ago. This is a project that's been identified in the last couple of downtown master plans and the Economic Development Action Plan. And so really we're looking to do a redevelopment plan for West 2nd Street. This would basically be from Central Avenue all the way to Stephen J. Miller Ballpark, including the Weinbrenner Building and then the post office and all the areas in between. So we've established an RFP. We did go through this process 3 years ago, but we did tweak it a little bit. Obviously, we updated the schedule, but we anticipate releasing the RFP next week if approved, and then we would be holding interviews the week of October 15th or October 18th, selecting final consultant the week of October 25th, and then commencing the project November 15th. With the intent to try to wrap this up by July 1. So it's a pretty aggressive schedule, but we feel like this would be, it's a smaller area, but a worthwhile project to move it forward. We met with the Economic Development Board last week, and they did recommend approval of the RFP. We did have some minor tweaks to it, but the one that you have is a version that has been updated. So they did approve the RFP and also recommended creating an ad hoc committee instead of a subcommittee or having the Economic Development Board acting as a steering committee for consultant interviews and then steering committee throughout the project. The ad hoc committee would be made up of the following: a representative. We're looking at 2 representatives actually from the Economic Development Board, a representative from Main Street Marshfield, one from the Community Development Authority, the Common Council, Plan Commission, Visit Marshfield, and a downtown property owner, and then the city staff person. So it'd be a 9-member committee, which is a lot, but we feel that all of those entities should be at the table when discussing this project. We have put together the RFP based on city policy and have developed a criteria in which to review the proposals. And so that criteria was in your packet, but does follow policy guidelines. I did touch on what the Economic Development Board already recommended. And so we're asking that the Finance, Budget, Personnel Committee recommend approval to get approval from the Common Council to submit post and send out the request for proposals for the West 2nd Street redevelopment plan.
It's in front of you. What are your wishes? Don't all speak at once.
I'll recommend approval of the RFP.
Okay. Motion by Nick. Is there a second? I'll second it. Okay. Discussion and questions. Anybody have any questions? Basically, you said that they started on this 3 years ago, and was it not circulated 3 years ago?
It did. We actually did have interviews with consultants, and then it got bogged down in the budget resolution stage. It did get approved, but by then we were kind of at a different timeline. The timing works out, I think, pretty well, given what the additional information we have with the city garage and the Weinbrenner building. So I think the actual timing of this project is better suited now. But yeah, we did get the process started, and we'd like to move forward with it again and then finish it this time.
Okay.
Project has been budgeted for, and actually the Wood County Seed Committee is providing a $25,000 matching grant for this project.
Right. Anybody else have any questions? Yeah, thank you, Mr. Wetzel. Yes, go ahead.
Thank you. How was this project area selected?
Primarily was selected as part of, I think it's identified in the downtown master plan, the 2015 plan. We did extend it. Originally, it was the Second Street corridor, the whole thing from Stephen J. Miller to the library and kind of connecting Central Avenue. So Second Street was the pivotal connecting point. But as far as the land goes, that was selected by staff, but ultimately based on what was included in the downtown master plan and the 2013 Economic Development Action Plan.
Okay, it just seems odd to me that you have like post office included, but you don't have some of the properties between Central and Chestnut on the south side included. I'm kind of wondering why certain things were allowed and or kept in and certain things were not.
Well, primarily it was property that's abutting Second Street.
Right, and you have all of the properties then specifically the corner of Central and Second on the south side there. That's not included. And yet
there's one property there. I guess, there is one property that I think it included just, I guess, one building, but I mean, we certainly could expand it if we felt it necessary.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? If not, we have a motion and a second to recommend it to council for approval. All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Opposed? So carried, unanimous.
Thank you.
Thank you, Josh. Okay, next up is request for the council to approve to refill vacant city planner position presented by Josh. Oh, you're not going away.
What's that?
You're not going away. Okay, go ahead.
It's not me that's going away. Fortunately, so far. No, our current city planner has been with us 4 years ago, yesterday, in fact, I think was his anniversary. But he's been city planner for about 3.5 years, has done a really nice job for us. Worked hard to get this bike and pedestrian plan to kind of the draft form, which we're in the process of reviewing right now. But it's a critical role in our department and for the city. We have a 2017 comprehensive plan that was developed, that was written in-house, and it's important that document continue to be maintained and then continue to be implemented, and that staff person really is spearheads that role. The other things that staff person does is they take on zoning amendments, municipal code amendments, updates to the official map, and annexations, and then other, odds and end things. But they really deal a lot with the plan commission, and they come to council a lot. You've seen Bryce here a number of times. And in addition, we do now have a housing affordability report that is statutorily required every year. So that has to be done, and that staff person takes care of that. City planner is also the staff person that works with historic preservation, and then also the Joint Plan Commission with the town of McMillan. So it is a pretty critical role, both from the city's standpoint, but also in our department. And they also serve as backup to any associate planner questions or zoning related and ordinance enforcement type things. So even the day-to-day stuff can get pretty busy. We did modify the job description a little bit, but it was really more housekeeping type things. If you looked at it, we were more specific in the types of projects that the planner would be involved in and applications that they'd review. Really not necessarily additional responsibility or education or experience required. Reviewing it with Jen, she didn't feel it was necessary to resubmit to McGrath, so we're not asking for major changes, but basically just cleaning it up. I think that'll help us provide a clearer job posting for the position for people to understand what they'll be applying for. So, as I did mention already, the last major project that Bryce is working on is a bike and pedestrian plan. Spent about 20 months on that and has done a really nice job putting that together. Some other things that we see this position working on is updating the Safe Routes to School plan, assisting with developing and implementing a affordable housing program, and then updates to the sign and subdivision program or ordinance. So if we had to hire out consultants for that, that would be a rather costly endeavor. So it's nice that we're able to do those things in-house. And with that, we do have potentially an interested internal candidate that is qualified, and we would ask the Finance Budget Personnel Committee consider that if that position were to be taken by the internal candidate, that would be able to refill the subsequent position in the interest of time. We're already going to be probably 6 to 8 weeks before we can fill the position, because a number of weeks you have to post the position, and then interviews, and then someone to vacate another job and come here. So that's what the request is to allow us to refill the position. And if the position is filled by an internal candidate, to authorize HR director to fill any internal subsequent vacancies caused by the promotion.
The motion by Spiros, second by Paschal. Discussion? Jen, just a clarification. We don't need to include in the motion to pass this along to council for approval that the provision of allowing to fill subsequent vacancies. We don't, that's pretty much standard procedure.
Right, our practice has been that once this body approves, we go forward with the posting. And when we have done other positions in the past with subsequent positions, specifically in like street department, if we'd move someone from one position to another, we get the subsequent approval.
Which is very common.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
It is.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so the motion doesn't require any further explanation. So with that, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So carried.
Thank you.
Thanks, Josh. And next up is request to recommend common council approve to submit revised city forester job description to McGrath for compensation evaluation by Jen Riku. Okay, Jen.
Thank you. So the city forester position was created back in 2019. Mark Riskevitz is our current city forester, and he was here just a short while ago doing a presentation for council. What we did is we took a look at his job description. He is not leaving. We do want him to stay, but this position has been in place for a couple of years. And when we first put it in, it was brand new to us. So we wanted to get the right person in. And so in working with Justin, we found some duties that needed to be kind of clarified within the job description. He had also worked with Mark, Dan Knack. We brought Steve into the loop on it. And so what you see in your packet is a red line job description. And the memo is pretty specific in terms of the changes that have been made to the job description, only because it looks very redlined when you look at the job description in the packet. So what I wanted to do is just take a couple of minutes to walk through some of the key responsibilities that we think require this job to need an evaluation with McGrath. And then Justin is also here and can step in and add any clarification. So if you look at the memo in the list of key changes, some of the things that we didn't necessarily anticipate that this position would do would be to train and instruct and evaluate staff on safety procedures for tree falling and different things associated with forestry. He does do that. Keep in mind, we do have MEUW that does some of that, but Mark actually is also responsible for the forestry piece. In terms of bullet point number 3, creates work and project schedules for the forestry interns and street division staff when they're working on forestry work. He clarifies the type of work that's going to be done and overseen, even if that work is done by other staff. So those 3 things, I think, change the scope. And then additionally, bullet 12, the years of experience when we looked at this initially was going to be from 3 to 5 years. And what the recommendation is to move that to 5 years, with 2 of the years of experience being in a supervisory capacity. So with that, I'm certainly happy to take any questions, but staff would recommend approval to submit the revised job description to McGrath for a compensation evaluation to ensure it's placed appropriately.
What's your pleasure? Ms. Spiros, was that a motion to approve?
Yes.
Is there a second? Mr. Wetzel. Questions, Mr. Wetzel?
Thank you. Do any of these requirements change the situation for our current employee?
Change in terms of additional responsibilities that they...
No, I'm just saying for like 2 years of experience, supervisory, 2 years of supervisory experience, those kinds of things.
I don't believe so. In terms of the candidate that's here, he's been doing supervisory work in this position for the interns and, not direct supervision of the street division staff, but certainly supervision of the work that is being performed. And so with nothing else, that would still meet that requirement.
Because I just don't want to lose what we've got, got a great guy. I don't want to lose him because we've now changed the job description so that it's, doesn't fit him. The other quick question I had, is there an associate degree available for urban forestry? I thought it was just bachelor level.
I believe there's an urban forestry degree at it's a 2-year tech program.
That's all I had. Thank you.
Anybody else? We have a motion and a second to approve and pass it on to McGrath. All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Aye. Opposed? So carried. Next up, review compensation consultant report on HR generalist position and recommend approval of pay scale for the position. The position has not yet been authorized by the council. However, this is just in case, right?
Correct.
You're up, Jen.
Thank you. So back in August, this body had approved the ability to submit the job description to McGrath for consideration. In your memo, it clarifies the rationale behind the pay grade placement, bachelor's degree prepared, partnering in regard to recruitment activities. As you might recall from my last presentation, they would be focused on the full cycle recruitment, exit, interviews. They would help with the seasonal compensation and the normal compensation plan as needed, benefits orientation. They would participate in the safety committee, among other things. What they felt in looking at the job description is that it would fall into pay grade 128. 128 is included in your memo, so you can look at the range. But with that, again, this is not approved for implementation, just to have the pay grade ready in the event that this position would be approved through the budget process or at some later date. So staff is requesting approval of the HR generalist and pay grade 128.
What's your pleasure?
I'll make a motion to recommend approval to the council.
Motion, is there a second? Second by Mr. Wetzel. Any further discussion? I'm sure we'll be debating this in the budget hearings themselves, so I think there's going to be, at least we'll have a firm idea of what the total value of that position would be. If no further discussion, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So carried.
Thank you.
Next up, request to recommend council approval to refill a vacant 0.5 FTE accounting clerk position that has been vacant since September 2020. Ron, that's you.
Thank you. Yes, so the accounting clerk position has been vacant since our incumbent went over to the wastewater facility. So that was September 2020. And what we did is we filled the tax season with temporary help to get us through the tax season. And since then, our accounting technician and our accountant have actually been taking care of the customer service duties up at the front desk. And we purposely kind of waited as long as we could because we wanted to see how the new software conversion shook out, so we'd have a better idea where we'd cross-train this person. And I think we're at that point now where we've got a good list of duties for the person. Obviously, the primary focus is customer service, forward-facing. Additionally, we had a long time temporary worker who always helped us out with tax season, who's no longer here. So we also need this person to be trained and up and ready by the time tax season starts, because we're down kind of a valuable temporary employee. It is in the budget. Like I said, we haven't filled, and it's time to move our accountant and our accounting technician back to their primary duties. I'm glad to answer any additional questions on it.
Discussion, or what's your pleasure? What would you like to do?
Move to approve.
Motion by Wetzel, second by Spiros to approve, passing it on to the council. And Ron, you answered one question. You said that it's already budgeted. Well, it's been budgeted but not filled for this year?
Correct. It's a
okay,
0.5 FTE limited benefit. So
with limited benefits?
Correct.
Okay. So, and the benefits were budgeted also?
Correct.
So we should have a nice surplus in that particular line item of that function. Right?
We did incur a little bit of overtime as we're filling that with other staff, but we should be money ahead altogether.
Okay. Thank you. Yeah, go ahead, Don.
How long do you anticipate it'll take to refill this position?
I think we recently hired in the clerk's department and had a good response. So I'm hopeful that once we post it, we'd have a similar batch of candidates and be able to fill it pretty quickly.
Because you said you want them there for tax season. First thought April, it's a long way away, but then I realized, wait a minute, no, we're looking at December, so.
That's not the tax season, right?
Yeah.
Wrong tax.
My Christmas gift is coming soon, so, yeah, so I think it's, the sooner we can get somebody on board and get them up to snuff, that's great.
Okay, we have a motion and second on the floor. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, so carried. And next step is to adjourn to closed session under Wisconsin statute.
One more.
What did I do? But, oh, jeez. Okay, that's what happens when I turn the page. Okay, request to recommend the council approval of budget resolution number 06-2021, amending the 2021 budget to cover, oh yes, the unbudgeted legal fees. As if we had any choice.
And I tried to foreshadow this a little bit, and we all knew this was coming, but just a little background. So we basically have 3 buckets now where we put our legal fees. The newer one will be within the council budget. We will budget legal fees in 2022 and forward with the ethics committee. And then, I scour the legal bills a little bit more for direct council expenses. So we will have a budget for this in 2022. The second budget is the city attorney, that's Hap Wolfgram and his firm, for all the general counsel and review documents, agreements, contracts, statute, provide counsel as needed. And the third one is in in the city administrator fee. And that usually has a small budget, and that's usually for just things such as, routine personnel issues, review of like the union contracts and those kind of things. So that's just kind of a annual thing. Obviously, between all the things we had going on this year, we greatly exceeded that. So the 3 categories we're amending the budget is number 1, the council for the removal of the mayor. 2 is just the general city attorney, routine stuff in support of these other cases. And 3 is largely due to the police union grievance. So the total that I'm estimating we will be over budget will be $240,000 is the amount of the budget amendment. Glad to answer any questions.
Questions? Motions? Motion by Spiros, second by Wetzel. Any further discussion? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, so carried. Now, adjourn to closed session under Wisconsin statutes, chapter 19.85, sub 1, sub C, considering employment, promotion, compensation, or performance evaluation data of any public employee over which the governmental body has jurisdiction or exercises responsibility. Specifically, request for variance from policy number 3.150, residency. Need a motion to go into closed session. Motion by Spiros, second by Wetzel. Roll call.
Paschal,
Yes.
Wagner,
Yes.
Witzel,
Yes.
Spiros.
And we are in closed session.